This is a video made to demonstrate the automatic antenna detection function on a Huawei B593 S601 LTE modem router. The S601 has a feature whereby it can automatically detect the presence of an external antenna on one or both of its antenna ports. It can switch to that antenna and use it for signal reception. In the absence of such an antenna, it can be caused to use the internal patch antennas which are built into the unit. The B593 comes with these two flat whip antennas. These have been measured to have 1.2 kiloohms DC resistance inside, and it's thought that the unit uses that resistance to help detect the presence of the antenna. Measurements show that on the S601 units there is a DC bias of around 1.8 volts on both of the antenna ports, and it's thought that that bias is what's used to actually detect the presence of the antenna. So this video will hopefully demonstrate how that works. We have here a B593 S601 setup and working. We're logged into its configuration page on the screen behind. On the left here, on what the router calls port 1, we have just a length of coaxial cable. It's not functional as an antenna at all. It's simply terminated in a 1.2 kiloohm resistor, exactly as the flat whip antenna would present for DC. On the right hand side, port 2, we have the same setup, except that the cable is terminated in a direct short circuit, as certain type of antennas would appear for DC. So that's how it's set up. At the moment it is using the built-in antennas. In other words, it's not using those cables, and you can see we've got about 3 bars of LTE signal and an active connection. Here on the system configuration page under antenna settings, we're going to change now to auto. You'll see this unit also has the force external function, which some of the other 593s don't. So we will set it to auto and submit. If we now go to the home page and go to the bottom, we see now that the unit has selected to use external antennas on both ports. In other words, it's seeing the 1.2 kiloohm resistor on port 1 and the short circuit on port 2 as sufficient condition to switch to an external antenna. You'll also notice that we've lost basically all of our signal now. We're down to 1 bar. So yeah, it has obviously detected those two antennas. What we're going to do now is just disconnect the termination on port 2. Quickest way to do that is just to cut it. A lot quicker than taking the SMA connector off. So right now port 2 has an open circuit. If we go back to the system page and select antenna settings, we are still on auto, no change there. We go back to the home screen and down to the bottom. Now we see that antenna 1, which is the one with the 1.2 kiloohm resistor, is still external, although antenna 2, which is the one with the open circuit, has now changed to built-in, so it no longer sees the short circuit, and it's switched back to the internal patch antenna. And you'll see that we've got back basically all of our signal, even with one antenna operational. This is obviously valid for the B593 S601. It may or may not be valid for the U12 U91 series. They have different firmware. They don't have the force external option. They are also known from measurements made by users on the My Broadband forum to use 3.3 volts DC instead of 1.8 on the antenna sockets. However, it seems logical to assume that the general method of antenna detection is similar on those units as well.